Hello my friends, welcome to Gelli Plate for Dummies number 7. Today we're going to work with leaves. I'm pretty sure that you all have seen the technique before, but I might learn you some little things about leaf transfer. And as you can see, a question that I see often showing up is, can you use the leaves several times? Yes, you can, as much as you like. You just have to be careful not to break them when you take them off your Gelli plate, but you can definitely reuse them. It's winter here now in Belgium, so I'm taking some leaves that I have dried last year, but you can perfectly well use fresh leaves too. It doesn't matter. And don't be afraid to use thick leaves or plants, whatever. And don't be afraid to use very thin ones like this one. Let me see what I'm going to take. Of course, it depends on your Gelli plate, size of your Gelli plate, but I'm gonna show you that even this tin can work perfectly fine. I think this will be enough to start with. Okay, and maybe one that has been used already, so you can see that it's perfectly fine to reuse it again. Okay, I'm going to take this size Gelli plate. It's an easy size to use, and I'm going to show you one more time that you really don't need expensive paint. Until now I was always using this really cheap paint, but it's really cheap paint. And then now I will do the same with Amsterdam. That is a little bit more expensive, but you will see that it doesn't matter a lot. Let's start with a normal transfer of a leaf. Let's say this one. Okay, I'm just trying out how I'm going to put it. Okay, now again, it is very important, you know already, that the layer of paint isn't too thick. So I have an old book next to me here to clean my brayer, but also when I see that there's too much paint on the plate, I can just roll it off a little bit. Now I'm going to prepare my paper, because everything has to be ready, so you always have to prepare your papers so that you don't have to look for them when you are doing the prints. So as you can see, this is really transparent. As it is also a cheap paint, it won't be very opaque, but you can see that it is really transparent. Now I'm putting my leaf on, and then I'm going to take a very thin paper, as I used in the first lesson, or in the second, I don't know, and in the second I think. And it doesn't matter if you take at this stage copy paper or scrap paper or whatever, or it's just to get the paint off that we don't want, because it's the ghost print that is interesting. But I just think that for doing this technique, it's easier. You can see through, and you can feel where you have to insist with your fingers around the leaf. Now here I don't have to hurry, because underneath the leaf the paint will not dry so fast. In this first thing that I'm doing, I just want to get the paint off that is around the leaf, and then when I did that, okay, I can go on printing on this, of course, so I will leave it aside. Now once you take the leaf off, the Gelli Plate, you will have to hurry a little bit if you want to do the print right away, or you have to wait and take the print with another layer. I'm going to do it right away, so there we go. So here it's really a question of seconds, because the layer underneath the leaf is a very thin layer, since it already was a very thin layer in the beginning, and then there's a part of the paint that is on the leaf, so the layer is even thinner than the one we've put on. So that dries really fast, so you have to hurry to put your paper on top, otherwise the paint is too dry and you cannot get the print done. There we go. And here is my print. This thing, I don't know how you call it, has not been printed. I have no idea why, but well, that's the surprise of the Gelli Plate. Now, I always like these little ghost prints, and I never wipe them off. So I'm just going to take a little bit off. Let me see, a little bit of this paint. My Amsterdam paint was just lying here because I was painting, but really for the Gelli Plate I always take cheap paint, except for my really big Gelli Plate where I take the slow drying open acrylics. But until now you can use whatever acrylic paint you have lying around. Now, if you want to see what this is going to be, okay, I have to... Sometimes I think that heating the paper up with my hand will accelerate a little bit the process. I don't wanna stop filming, so I'm going to take this off right away, since it was such a small amount of paint that was left on the plate. I didn't have to wait the 10 minutes. I think it was like 1 minute or so. So these are already 3 really pretty prints that we have. Now, this one was done with the cheap paint. Let's try now to do the same thing with the more expensive paint here. The difference that you will see right away is that the paint is more opaque because there's more pigments. But, well, I find it more difficult to see if it's the right layer of paint. And I would say, that this is too much. So I will roll it off a little bit. And I think this is the good amount of paint. I can slightly see through. I'm going to put on the leaf and on the same side and putting this on right away, just to take off the paint that is around it. Now, if you take several colors, you can perfectly well print the same image on here, and then you will have, like I did with the rings, a nice layered up print. But here we are just comparing the cheap paint with the Amsterdam. Now, there we go. One, and then I need to prepare my paper. I will print it on here, so we will see the difference right away. 1 and 2. The paint will probably be a little bit more saturated, I suppose you can call it, because the paint itself is more pigmented. you see. But well, here you can really see the difference, because between cheap and expensive, more expensive. Is it better? I really don't think so. The technique is not working better with one or the other. You just have to know that this paint is more pigmented than the other one. And again, we don't. Now we are going to do maybe, oh yes, this I really don't want to wipe this off. So again, I'm going to roll a small amount of paint up on this one. I don't have to put it everywhere, just on the leaf is fine. And it is a fun way to clean your Gelli plate, and it cleans it very well with a layer of paint. Now again, normally we should have to wait like 10 minutes because it has to pick off this layer, but the layer, the contour of the leaf is so thin that 1 minute will be enough. I think this is going to be a really long video because I love this technique, and there's so much to say about it. What I can say about this print is that I didn't clean my brayer correctly, so when I've put on the orange paint, the black paint went on. And let us try this one, who was really thin. You see? Incredibly thin. Now, let me take this paint again, and you can perfectly well mix 2 brands of paint, and that's what I'm going to do now. And if you want a really detailed print, you really have to take a very thin layer of paint. How thinner you can get your layer, how more detailed the leaves will be. Of course, you have to work pretty quickly so that the paint doesn't dry too fast. There we go. This is pretty too, but it's not what we want. And there we go. And well, that is the problem when you have such a thin leaf. It's easy to break it, of course. Now, since I had to take this off, of course I cannot print this print right away because the paint is too dry. It won't come off. So let us take a baby wipe and clean around it. You don't have to do that, really. That's up to you. I'm not going to take it all off, but since I have the time while I'm waiting until this leaf is dry, I'm going to clean up my image a little bit so I won't have this parasite paint, let us call it that, around it. I'm not going to go too close to the leaf though. Can just leave maybe like a shade on one side. And so this is still with the cheap paint, okay? I know, I'm insisting, but you hear so much about this or that paint that you need to do gel printing, and it's just not important at this stage of your work. You can do so much nice prints with whatever you have lying around. Now, this paint is now completely dry, but my plate around is a little bit wet with the baby wipes, so I'm going to dry that, and I'm going to take this layer off with orange paint. I'm going to prepare my copy paper. I'm going to check if my brayer is really clean before putting this beautiful orange paint down. And I'm not going to go right until the edges. There. Just going to do this, putting the paper on, giving it a good rub, and it's important that you do that pretty quickly. And now I can really go on cleaning my brayer. There's still some black paint that's coming off. Now, if you have put a lot of this orange paint on, you will need a lot more drying time, and your paper can wrinkle a little bit if it's really too much. So this was a thin coat of orange paint too, and the layer underneath is really thin too, so I think I can take this off already. And so you can see that the print is nicely transferred. I mixed the cheap paint with the Amsterdam, that's no issue. And I can reuse this leaf again. It's a little bit broken here, but in fact the more I will use it, the stronger it will get, because it will build up some layers of paint that will make it stronger. Okay, now I will show you another technique with this leaf. In fact, I was working with autumn leaf colors with my Amsterdam on a painting, so I'm going to use what is laying around here. Let me take some brown. And then prepare my paper to print it on, so that is ready, because now we will have to go pretty fast. And you know what, I'm gonna add a little bit of the black paint. And you know why? Because I can see that the paint that I've chosen if you look here, it is transparent paint, so I'm adding a little bit of black that is not transparent. Can you see the difference there? The little box on the black one is full and this is empty. So we need a little bit of opacity with this technique, and so we have a nice mix of both colors. That's fine. Now I'm going to put on this leaf, and I'm going to let this stick out. Now what I'm going to do, and this really needs to be done exactly the way I show it, and in the same speed. So I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take the leaf off. This is not completely off, and then I'm going to print on the same spot again. And so you have this, instead of having two separate prints, one of the background and one of this. I really like doing these videos with you guys because it gives me a lot of new ideas, and I just had another one with leaves that I've never tried, and it's so motivating to know that people are going to do the same thing after having watched your video. So thank you for watching. And my next idea, I took my round Gelli plate. I love this Gelli plate. I'm going to put it aside, and I'm going to draw the shape. Well, not the shape, but just you will see. Images speak better than words. So I'm just drawing this line, which is the shape, and then I'm going to cut that out. The idea is in my head, so I hope it's going to come out right. So these are gonna be masks. Going to put those aside, take my round Gelli plate, and now let me think. I'm going to put on, let's take the green one. Is it opaque? Yes, it is. So I need paint on one side. The leaves are going to go that way. So I don't want to paint the paint on the left side. So I'm going to put on my mask here. Yeah, that's about right. And then I'm going to put on the paint just on, this is almost empty. I don't want to not have enough paint. So this is too much because I've put the paint on like as for a whole plate. So I will get some off on my old book, and this should be about the right amount to have a nice leaf transfer. Now I'm going to put this on. So that leaf has to go half on top, and this, yes, like this. Then I am going to put a scrap paper on there to take away the paint that's around the leaves. I just want the transfer of the of the leaves like this. Let's have a look. Okay. Okay. Now I want this to be really only what's underneath the leaves, so I'm going to take a baby wipe, leave the leaves on there. Leave is going to leave the leaves on there, and clean it all around. If there's some shadow around the leaves, I don't mind, but for the rest I'm going to clean up the plate. Okay, this looks good, I think. And then I'm going to try to get the paper without moving the leaf completely. Yes, then put the leaves on again. No, I'm going to take this off and leave this to dry. It will be I think with not so many risks as what was I going to do. So see you later. Okay, this is dry. Now I'm going to take the other mask. I'm going to put on the leaves on first, so I can really put them on the same spot. There we go. And put the mask, the other mask, on the other side. There. And now the leaves are going to be the mask for the other side. They are a little bit fragile because they're old, so I don't want to break the leaves, so I'm going to put on the paint on my smaller plate so that the paint is on the brayer and I don't need to pass too much over the leaves. If I'm going like that, I think the leaves will break more easily than if I go like this. So let me try this. Can you imagine already what it's going to be? I hope it will turn out just as I have it in mind. Okay, I won't touch it anymore. I'm too afraid of breaking the leaves. Now I'm going to take my mask away. Going to take this away. And I'm going to let this dry. This is dry. Now, in the meantime, I really clean my brayer thoroughly because I don't want any black paint to stay on the brayer while I'm putting on the lighter colors. So I will take a mix of an orangey color and the almost white. It is Naples yellow. Here. And then I will spread that out. Don't worry about the black paint underneath. That is not going to move. It is acrylic. There we go. Now I'm going to put on a thicker paper. There. Just because I think I'm gonna like this print, and I also like the round shape of this Gelli Plate. And now these are two almost complete layers all over the Gelli Plate, so I really need to leave this on, and I want to be sure that it's going to be completely dry and it's going to pull off all the leaf prints. So I'm going to leave this on for 1 hour. Now, I think I told you in one of the first videos, when you have, oh, there is like an explosion on my work table. It's, oh my god. I really need to tidy up a little bit after this print. So, when you have thicker paper, don't take the paper off the Gelli Plate, because it's going to, while you're bending it, you can maybe, it's better, that's what it was I was going to say, it's better to pull off the gel plate from the paper than to pull off the paper from the gel plate. Then the paper stays nicely flat. You can follow with your hand here. You see? There we go. And this is my final print. Let's have a closer look. Okay, next experiment. These are little flowers, the first flowers that I found, that I picked in my garden. I put them in a little vase. They are little small daffodils. And just to show you that you don't need flat leaves to work on the Gelli Plate, it's just better to, let me prepare it, to take real thin scrap paper to push around. I will show you. So this is my brown, little bit transparent paint. Oh, I didn't clean my brayer as I should have. There we go. Spreading the paint. Nice and evenly. Thin coat. My desk, my working table is such a mess for the moment. Now, putting these on. There. Here are two flowers, maybe separate them a little bit. There. And one more here. And one more here. So you see, it's very thick. I don't mind. And then I'm putting this around, and this paper gives you the possibility to really go around the thicker flowers or leaves or plants. I want most of the paint around the flowers. I want it off. So I insist around it. There we go. Here a little bit. Yeah, and then here you can see where the paint is still too present. That's okay. That looks okay. This is not uninteresting. Can be used to print on afterwards. And here are my little daffodils. There is some left here. And I'm gonna let this dry. Now this is dry. I'm going to add one more layer. I'm going to punch out a round shape. Okay. To use it as a mask to put like a little sun here. For that I'm going to take my small brayer. I don't see it, it's here. Take my small brayer and put the little sun up here. And of course this little sun needs to dry. So while this dries, why wouldn't I put on some green on the bottom of the print? Just like this. Then let me try this. Oh yes, there we go. Putting some stripes in there. Trying to get rid of the squarey things. Okay. Now this looks strange. You know, the sun looks like the sun is hiding the daffodils, but well, we all know that is not true. It will be underneath, as this green will be. So this has to dry completely. This is dry. Now going to pick up these 3 layers. So a little bit more paint. These 3 layers with my lightest yellow. Spread it out evenly. But as you see, the coat is not so thick that you can still see a little bit of what's going on underneath. So don't make it too thick. Now taking a paper, putting it on, and give it a good rub, and then give it a good rest for an hour. Don't forget an hour. You're picking up 3 layers. See you in an hour. That will take 2 seconds for you. Okay, in the meantime I cleaned up my work table to pull this last print. Let's have a look. The plate is clean. I have to pull hard to get it off, so that's okay. That's a good sign. Slowly following with your other hand. There we go. And then I always put it, I do that on purpose, I put it right away. I stick it on my Gelli plate, and then the paper dries flat, otherwise it's all rolled up. So this is my daffodil sunny print, and then I was going to show you, I made this for my small square Gelli print. and this for the bigger ones, and you can see what it looks like when you would put it in a frame. Or you can also shuffle this around to see what part you want to keep. You see, this looks nice. Or I can do it like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.